Blackkklansman is directed by Spike Lee. I'd say you probably already know who he is, even if you haven't seen one of his movies, but he's done Malcolm X, Do the Right Thing, a number of pretty good films to amazing films over the years. And this is definitely a return to form for him. Stars John David Washington, who is the son of Denzel Washington, and this is his first major role, I'd say. He's had a few other parts that I saw when I looked him up, but nothing super huge. Stars Adam Driver, who every time I see him in something, he is immediately one of my favorite parts about the film, and this one's no different. He gives a great performance in this, a very troubled and subtle at times performance, but also whenever the big moments come, the big dramatic lines, he delivers them flawlessly, and he just does such a great job. This film's story is almost too crazy to believe. It is from the memoirs of Ron Stallworth. He is an African-American man in Colorado, one of the first African-American cops in Colorado, and he somehow infiltrates the KKK and is able to take them down. It is just crazy whenever you see it. I actually think that's the best part about the movie whenever I started breaking it down, is just the main story of it, just how they adapted it from the memoirs and how they kept the realism there, but they also managed to make it funny and have some good moments, and there's some good movie type moments that it never is boring. It's never slow paced. Now, I say that about the pacing, and I do need to bring up one thing, something that kind of bothered me a little bit at the start. At the first 15, 20 minutes, it is kind of preachy. It's not even that I disagree with the messages in the film or anything like that. Just on a film aspect, I got the point they were trying to get across. He enters a rally of sorts and is there for a little while, and I got what they were trying to say, and I'm fine with it. I agree with it. It's just you don't have to keep pushing that on me for 20 minutes, you know? Other than the first 20 or so minutes, the pacing is really, really good. It's really tight. They're always pushing the story along. Even whenever I was like, what does this have to do with anything? They somehow bring it around, and there's not a whole lot of wasted time. It pays attention to the viewer's time, and it doesn't waste that. This movie does a good job of editing. All the technical aspects across the board are actually really good. It's got great music as well. But the editing is always interesting to me. Every time they did a wipe, every time they had a cut to something, every time they were editing faces into a scene that were paying attention to something someone was speaking, it was always interesting to me. And that's one of the best parts about this film, is it's always visually interesting. I think that's something Spike Lee might have realized, is sometimes with these dramas, in a way Spotlight kind of did this, as an example I can think of, is the story is super good, the acting is super good, but it struggles at times to make it visually interesting on screen, because you're just watching people talk to each other. You're just watching people in an office talk back and forth or on the phone. But Blackkklansman does a really good job, because this is a drama. It's kind of like a crime drama, but it is a drama, and they keep it always visually interesting on screen, whether it's really cool shots or really cool angles or interesting motifs that are throughout the film of something you're seeing over and over again. They do a great job of that. Got great technical aspects. We got a great story to go off of. What else do we need? Acting.
Lonely in the mornings when
John David Washington might be the front runner for Best Acting at the Oscars next year. That's a big statement, but he gives a really, really good performance in this. One of the best I've seen all year. As a cop who's struggling between several different viewpoints, several different ideals, he's getting information from his girlfriend in the film that, all cops are evil and they're all bad and they're all trying to just do these awful things. But he's also a cop at the same time, so, he's struggling with that. And it's something I really noticed about, halfway through the movie, where there's a scene of him, walking outside with his girlfriend, just talking to her about, different things that are going on in their world. And I started to realize, inside the character of Ron Stallworth, John David Washington is giving off that he's struggling with how to view this, or what is right, what is wrong. There's always that gray area I talk about in films of characters, whether they're good or bad. And he is definitely a hero for this film. He is a great protagonist. He always makes me root for him throughout the whole film. I was never like against him or not on his side. Like, he's a great protagonist, a great person for all the audience members to root for. And he's kind of caught in the middle between these awful cops, these racist Ku Klux Klan, and this other side of this Black Power type movement. And he's kind of caught in the middle of that, where he wants to do the right thing, for his friends and his people, but he also is a cop, and he realizes that, there are a lot of evil cops, there are a lot of guys that are doing bad things, but if we come together and all sides come together to fight people like the Ku Klux Klan or fight like bad cops, like, we can really make a difference. And at the end of the day, that's the main thing I got from this movie whenever I left the theater, is that coming together, all sides, no matter race, no matter color, if we all come together to fight evil, that we can change, we can stop this everything bad that's happening in the world. As long as we stand up and we fight, for what's right, that we can really change stuff. And I guess there's one more thing I should mention before I give the score out and everything. I really liked what this movie was doing. I really liked how the story was going. I liked where we ended at. And then there's this, I guess, just montage of some modern events, some daily events that are happening, and I just felt it was unneeded. And it's not that I don't get what they're saying, and it's not that I don't agree with what they're saying. It's just, it felt kind of ham-fisted to take this story from the 70s and relate it to now, even though that stuff can have parallels, and I get that, but I just didn't like what they did there at the end. I didn't think it was needed, and I thought it was kind of shoehorned into the rest of a fantastic film. So saying all of that, I'm going to give Blackkklansman a 8.5, a great and a half. I thought the technical aspects were really good. I thought the acting was amazing. And just the overall story that we had here, I thought they did such a great job of adapting it from memoirs into a film that was funny, and it had very intense moments at times, very important philosophical type moments in it as well. They did a great job, and it's great to see Spike Lee make a return to amazing filmmaking that I know he's always been capable of. Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. You watched all the video. You did it. You made it to the end. And now you can watch me babble more and say more if you go right here and watch one of my old videos, or go over here and subscribe and watch all of my old videos. And even if you wouldn't do that, I really appreciate it if you scroll all the way down past all these other similar videos to mine that aren't as good, and leave me a comment and let me know what you think I did. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much.